Hello friends, welcome back to our channel. Today we'll see the concept of the types of machine learning or the paradigms of machine learning. So how many ways the machine learning is trained. Okay, so types of machine learning. See, in our previous session we have discussed about the introduction of machine learning, so where the model or the machine will be trained with a huge data. So from that particular data it will predict or it makes the decision perfectly in order to improve the performance, right? So how many ways that training of data will be done? So actually we have seen the same kind of input and output will be given to the model so that it will analyze the patterns and it will predict the output. So here how many ways the data will be trained? So before going to the types of machine learning, we need to understand about the labeled data and unlabeled data. So labeled data and unlabeled data. See, if the data is having the answers, okay, both the input and output, if the data is having both the input and output, that we will be calling it as a labeled data. So it will be having both the input plus output, and here we'll be having only the input and we need to analyze the output based upon the patterns, right? So only input will be there. Okay, that means here simply we can say problems with solutions, but here it is only problems. Okay, so simple example, let us take a two images. So the two images will be given with a labeled data. For example, if it is a cat, I'll give the captions as cat and dog. Okay, and in the unlabeled data we'll be giving only the two images without the captions, so it will analyze the patterns and it will identify which one is the cat and which one is the dog. Okay, so this is the example for labeled and unlabeled data. Hope you understood this labeled and unlabeled data. Now let us see what are the different types of machine learning. That means how many ways the model is trained, model or machine can be trained. Okay, the first one is a supervised training. Supervised training. So in this supervised training, the model is trained on labeled data. So in supervised training there will be a labeled data. From that labeled data it will that model is able to give the corresponding output. Okay, so here train on the labeled data. So based on the results, that means previous results, it analyze output. So completely based upon the previous results. Okay, so example for this one is spam email detection. So before applying the spam email detection, so a lot of emails will be given as a trained, right? So based upon the which are not a spam, which are a spam and which are a genuine emails. So from that results it will analyze the patterns and it will identify whether the new email is a spam email or the genuine email. Okay, so this is a simple example. Another one, one more example for this one is a predicting the house prices. So before going to give this house details, it will be trained with a lot of existing information. Okay, already the information is existed, so from that it will predict the house prices. Okay, so now this is about the supervised training. And the next one is unsupervised training. Unsupervised training. Second one, unsupervised. So in this, a model is trained. Model is trained on unlabeled data. Unlabeled data. So here, what happens? It will be giving only problems. There is no solutions. From that, it have to identify the things, right? So mainly the main motto of this one is a grouping based upon patterns, based on pattern. Okay, so here there is no solutions, only the problems will be there. From that problems we need to identify the patterns and we need to give the grouping, we need to make the grouping. Okay, so example for this one is, so giving fruits to a child without their names. So giving some fruits like apples, banana, etc., etc., will be giving to the child, so that the child will group all the apples on one side and all the bananas on another side and all the oranges on another side. So how the person or how the child will be doing all these things means, the child will analyze the patterns. That may be a color, that may be a style, okay, that may be a structure, whatever it may be. So they'll have some pattern, they'll analyze that pattern and they'll group everything. That is comes under this unsupervised training. So we'll be having the problems without any solution. So we are having some fruits without their names, so we need to group everything. So that is called as a unsupervised training. Okay, so grouping fruits to giving fruits to a child without their names, and child groups the fruits based on pattern. So here the pattern can be the size, the structure, the color, etc., etc. Anything can be a pattern. Okay, right. So this is the unsupervised training. And the third one is a reinforcement learning. Reinforcement learning. Reinforcement learning. So this is a third category. So in this the machine will be trained with a trial and error method. So the model or machine is trained with trial and error, trial and error with feedback, with feedback. So simply we can also say that as based on rewards and penalties, rewards and penalties. So it will understand the environment, it will understand the environment and it will proceed. First it will understand the environment, okay, and it will proceed. So for a correct action, if you are giving some correct action, if you are doing some correct action, then you will be rewarded with something, and if you are doing the wrong action, there will be some penalty. So that's why we have said that model is trained with a trial and error along with the feedback. So even if it is a correct action or wrong action, there will be a feedback. So based upon that, this particular training will be done. So simple example, the better example to understand this one is training a dog. Training a dog is a simple example for this. So if the action, if the dog performs a correct action, that the dog will be rewarded with some sort of food. And if it does any wrong action, there will be no rewards, there is no food. So after some kind of iterations, the dog will be trained, so it will accept the correct actions to get the food. So this is a simple example for this reinforcement learning, right? So if dog performs the correct action, then food will be delivered. Wrong action, there will be a penalty, that is no food. So after finite number of iterations, the dog will be trained so that it will always do the correct action to get the food. Okay, so this is a simple and better example to understand what exactly means the reinforcement learning. So trial and error method. And the last one is a semi-supervised learning. The fourth one is a semi-supervised learning. Semi-supervised learning. So here we have seen a supervised learning means the model will be trained with labeled data, and unsupervised is a unlabeled data. So here the semi-supervised means the model is trained on labeled and unlabeled data. So both will be there. So the majority, the small amount of data will be labeled and large amount will be unlabeled. So based upon, with reference to this labeled, it will analyze the patterns to solve unlabeled data. So in order to solve the unlabeled data, in order to get the correct answers, so it will be using the labeled data. Okay, so example for this. So teacher solves some 4 questions and giving 10 questions as assignment. So this is a regular work we are seeing in our classrooms, right? So in our classrooms, what teacher says means the teacher will be solving some 4 or 5 questions, and the teacher will give some rest of the questions, 10 or 15 questions as an assignment. So what the student have to do means they have to analyze the solving of these questions, these 4 or 5 questions, and based upon that procedure the students have to answer the remaining 10 questions. So there will be some labeled and some unlabeled. So here we are having both the questions and answers, okay, input and output. So this is a labeled data, and here we are having 10 more questions without answers, so we need to find out the answers. So this is the unlabeled data. So we are using the labeled data and analyzing the patterns to solve the unlabeled data. So this is happens in this semi-supervised learning, right? So these are all different types of learnings, okay, based upon the environment or based upon the inputs. So supervised, unsupervised, reinforcement learnings, and semi-supervised learning, right? So hope you understood this paradigms. We can also call them as a paradigms, machine learning paradigms. Okay, so I'll stop here, and if you are having any doubts regarding this one, feel free to post your doubts in the comment section. Definitely I will try to clarify all your doubts. If you really enjoyed the session, like my session, share my session with your friends, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Thanks for watching. Thank you very much.